The Western armies were wary. They wanted unconditional surrender first. But the resistance was desperate to do a deal.
It got unbearable. We couldn't accept it anymore. It was a very daring thing to do. It was at the end of the war, and without the consent of the military or the Allies, and especially amid the prevailing mentality of Germans, deeply entrenched in National Socialism. It was enormously daring.
Only the military could get rid of Hitler. Here at the conspirators' headquarters, they knew the war was lost and that the Reich was in a state of collapse. Dozens of assassination attempts had already foundered, but then a new plan, Walküre, evolved. The idea was that the Home Guard should take over power in Germany and try to end the war, but the death of Hitler was a prerequisite.
The only people who can do anything are people in positions like yours and others who have troops at their disposal. Only through this kind of power can anything be done. You have to be able to stop others doing what they are doing. And then, he said to me after a pause, there is a group of men who are working on this, and the putsch will succeed one day.
A plot to murder the head of state. But who would dare do it? None of the conspirators were close enough to him. Only when Count Stauffenberg was summoned to the Führer's headquarters was there a chance.
Before the 20th of July, my husband said that if my brother-in-law Werner was to telephone and say, tomorrow, it is taking place tomorrow, then the whole thing was underway.
20th of July 1944, 12:30 p.m. Stauffenberg was with Hitler. The course of world history depended on the exact positioning of a briefcase. There'd never be another opportunity.
I always tried to defend Stauffenberg. He was the only one who could carry out this putsch, because the other old generals involved were rather pathetic figures.
Within hours, the coup had collapsed. The assassination attempt failed, and Freisler had a field day. The conspirators hadn't destroyed lists of names, and a mission which presented the Gestapo with the easy job of rounding them all up. Retaliation would be swift and brutal at the Berlin Supreme Court in August 1944.
Zwei Wochen nach der Tat verhandelt der Volksgerichtshof gegen 8 der aus dem Heere ausgestoßenen Verräter, die an dem Verbrechen des 20. Juli führend beteiligt waren. Erwin von Witzleben, Erich Höppner, Friedrich Karl Klausing.
The news report about the trial was never shown in cinemas. The propaganda ministry was worried about an unpleasant discussion about the noisy conduct of the proceedings by Freisler.
Peter Graf Jörg von Wartenburg, Robert Bernardis.
Even among his colleagues there was disquiet.
You can't argue with the fact that officers who take part in an assassination attempt on the head of state in time of war will be condemned to death. But the manner in which this was carried out, both in terms of procedure and execution, was in no way acceptable. Quite the opposite. It was regarded as abhorrent.
Der Angeklagte stief bei seiner Aussage über die Heranschaffung des Sprengstoffes.
There were also people who were asked, why didn't you report this? And one person said, out of humanity. But didn't get another word out because Freisler started shouting, out of humanity, but they put a bomb under the Führer's backside. He said backside. Putting a bomb under his backside? That's humanity, is it? And I don't know what else. Then he launched a tirade of hatred. It just poured out very noisily. In the end, he'd say, I don't want to have any more to do with you.
Politische Dinge gesprochen und die Notwendigkeit politische Dinge waren die Frage der Besetzung, der Regierungsbildung dieser Fragen. Sagen Sie politische Dinge, die Frage der Besetzung der Regierungsbildung. Ermorde mein Verbrechensgenosse, Graf von Stauffenberg, haben Sie das gemeldet. Sagen Sie ruhig laut, wenn Sie
Freisler was trying to make the accused lose dignity, but he didn't always succeed.
Apparently, Freisler always roared, "Scoundrel Schulenberg." But once he forgot himself and said, "Count Schulenberg," at which Fritz, my brother, bowed and said, "Scoundrel Schulenberg, please."
At all costs, they had to be humiliated by Freisler. General Herpner was made to take the stand in his cardigan without his false teeth.
Welche zoologische Charakterisierung hätten Sie denn als Gericht hier angesehen für das, was Sie getan haben? Der Esel ist eine Sache des Intellekts. Schweinehund ist eine Sache des Charakters.
Field Marshal Fitzleben was made to stand holding up his trousers because his braces had been taken away from him. Freisler bawled at him, "You dirty old man, why are you always fumbling about in your trousers?" But none showed sufficient remorse.
Then he just said, "We brought this upon ourselves because we wanted to save Germany from untold misery." I know I will be hanged for it, but I do not regret the action we took. I only hope that someone else will carry it out at a more favourable moment.
Sind Sie nicht auch gerade eingesetzt gewesen in Westpreußen? Jawohl. Aber nicht ein vielfaches Hin und Her, das Sie dem Nationalsozialismus zur Last legen.
Im Wesentlichen gedacht an die vielen Morde.
Morde?
Die in Finnland und im Ausland passiert.
Sie sind ja ein schäbiger Lump! Brechen Sie unter der Gemeinheit! Ja oder nein? Zerbrechen Sie darunter?
Herr Präsident, auf meinem
Ja oder nein auf eine klare Antwort?
Nein.
Nein, Sie können auch nicht mehr zerbrechen. Denn Sie sind ja nur noch ein Häufchen Elend!
Members of the public at the tribunal consisted almost entirely of the party faithful. The next of kin of the accused remained outside the door.
I realised I was in the right place because through the doors I could hear this frightening, loud, dreadfully aggressive, evil voice of Freisler's.